I've currently had the Google Pixel 6 Pro now for maybe about 3 weeks. And I'm just now starting to warm up into the device. So I'm not necessarily ready to do a full-on review of the Google Pixel 6 Pro. However, I've had the Google Pixel 5A here for roughly about 4 months now, and I think I can really dig into that device and kind of give some contrasts and some comparisons between usage and between the nature of both devices. So both of them are running Android 12, and I really enjoy both of them. There's not really a huge difference between both devices as far as usability. That's one thing that's good about Google, or what some people would say is boring about Google, because if you get another device from Google, really you're going to get the exact same software experience that you are previously getting. But when it comes to huge price differences like this, that's a good thing, because you know that if you go ahead and you get the lesser device, the lesser cost device, that you will be getting the same thing as the higher spec device for the most part. And I'll go ahead and I'll tell you why I went ahead and I upgraded and I got the Google Pixel 6 Pro. Aside from being a YouTuber and aside from just wanting to review the device and give my thoughts and impressions on one of the most hyped devices of the year, pretty much, my reason for getting this device was the fact that I love this device so much. I went ahead and I got the Google Pixel 6 Pro because it had a bigger screen display. That bigger screen display, that bigger screen display meant a lot to me. That real estate means a lot to me. Not only that real estate, not only that real estate, but I wanted to have a quad display, something that I potentially thought would be brighter or could get brighter. One thing that I've noticed though is that I kind of don't care. Normally I would care about the screen brightness. I would care about the pixel count and the pixel density and the rest of that. When it comes to these two devices, I don't care. The Google Pixel 5a really made me not care because it is a really bright and vibrant display. Turn that all the way up there for you. Look at that. You can't even really see it fully correctly when it comes to that display in the camera because it's so bright. It's so bright. It's so accurate. The colors are lush and they pop off the screen. And it's a fairly good sized device for most people. I like bigger devices, so I went ahead and I got the big device. And there's a huge price difference between the two of these devices. So you really got to think carefully if you go ahead and you upgrade to the Google Pixel 6 Pro. I know you can get it on carriers. But you're really not going to see that big of a difference in terms of functionality and usability between the two devices. This one has quad display. This one has a 1080p display. The camera is located in two different places, and there's some aesthetic differences, but as far as the usability, I really don't see too big of a difference. I love both of these devices, and in fact, in some scenarios, in some cases, I actually prefer the Google Pixel 5a. In some scenarios, that flat screen display for some people makes a huge difference, and then of course the lightweight of the device. Now here's the big difference of the reason why I went ahead and grabbed this device. I said in my last review of this device, the reason why I got it was because the Google Pixel 5a, it does have some overheating issues when it comes to recording. So I can't necessarily use it for content because for me personally, when I've tried to record content on this device, it has literally given up on me a couple of times and botched a couple of my unboxings. Very unfortunate. I couldn't get that back really. I tried to salvage some of the footage, but what am I going to do with like 2 minutes of footage? Not much. However, this device will record 15-20 minutes of footage and I don't have a problem. And that's at any resolution. I mean, just now, I just tried to record some footage with my Google Pixel 5a, and it tapped out on me after about 3 or 4 minutes of recording. Literally at 1080p 60 on the main sensor. Tapped out on me and said the device got a little bit too hot. Now, I do have my heater in my room because I've been a little bit under the weather and I've been trying to kick a cold all week. But my heater is set to 70 degrees. And so it's about 70 degrees room temperature in my room. And for whatever reason, the Google Pixel 5a just didn't like it. I'm recording on the iPhone 12 Pro right now. It's not having a problem. The Google Pixel 6 Pro does not have a problem. It's only the Google Pixel 5a that really can't get over that hump. So I would not use this device as a content creating device. For me, it's unreliable. However, I do love using this device for other things, just taking pictures with it, maybe some really light recording, maybe. But even then, I don't necessarily trust it enough to do that. I've had better time using the front-facing camera on this device than I have had on the rear camera on this device. And that's just been my personal subjective experience. I have zero issues with the Google Pixel 6 Pro as far as recording, and the battery's a little bit better on the Google Pixel 6 Pro. That's just been my experience. And, you know, for all the users out there, for the people that don't want to pay the $1,000 price tag that the Google Pixel 6 Pro has, I would say still get the 5a. If you're not going to be recording YouTube videos at high resolutions and you don't really necessarily need that functionality, everything else on this device is great. I love the battery life. It's fairly equivalent to almost this device here, give or take, just depending on how I use it on any given day, because of that 1080p panel and because of the well optimization there. And this device here too, also well optimized, and that quad HD panel and that high refresh rate of 120 hertz, which is intermittent. Excuse me, which is intermittent. It drains that battery sometimes. It don't, like I said, it just depends on what you're doing though, but it can drain that battery down to a slow crawl. And I'm finally starting to get some of my cases in here. But size for some people makes a difference. Size can make a difference. So if you prefer a smaller device, but great hardware, great software, don't necessarily need to record very much, I still say get the Google Pixel 5a. Literally, there's nothing wrong with this device. Honest and truly. It's great. I love it. But if you need a little bit more horsepower, if you plan to maybe have some footage, make some YouTube videos, and you want to use your phone, I say definitely use this device. Now, I have edited on both of these devices. No problem. No problem with tasking. No problem with editing footage on this device that have a higher resolution. But when it comes to recording, you know, it's not too reliable for me. And, you know, that's just been my experience. This device has been very reliable. I love it. I'm having a whole lot of fun with it. And I'm going to do a full review of this device here pretty soon. Let's go ahead and take a look at another device I've been wanting to compare this to. This here is the Huawei Mate 40 Pro. I've had this device now roughly maybe about 5 months, maybe 6, since I started my YouTube channel. And this has been really the top dog device as far as just performance and performing every single task that I needed to perform. My Sony, I love my Sony, but my Sony, it's a stickler when it comes to utilizing those cameras, and that 4K screen definitely kills battery a lot faster. But these two devices here are my powerhouse devices, my workhorse devices. I still use this device a lot. Excuse me. I still utilize this device a lot. And once I got Google services on it, you know, it's just been relatively perfect for me. And the size is really where it gets it for me, because I do like bigger devices, like I said. And the fact that it has stable software, steady updates, I can pretty much get any applications I want on this device, same as any other regular Google-based Android device. And, you know, the functionality has just been great. This device here also has been great. Android 12 has a few issues it has to work out. Couple of things it needs to work out, couple of things it needs to work on, no problem. But other than that, this device has been great. I do prefer the cameras on the Google Pixel 6 Pro, but for whatever reason, the color science on here is extremely accurate, extremely vivid without being too overly saturated. And I just really love how Huawei does their cameras. So it's a little bit difficult for me to say which one wins in the camera department. However, since the Google Pixel 6 Pro is easier for people to obtain, and there's not a whole bunch of workarounds that they have to do with this device as opposed to the Mate 40 Pro, you do have to do some workarounds so you can get Google Messages, and you can get, you know, your Google Photos and your Gmails, and, you know, some other applications that are a little bit more Google centric. It does take a lot more work to get those applications. I don't mind doing it, and there's videos on YouTube that teach people how to do it, show people how to do it. I've used some of those videos to get me to this point where this device has just been magnificent for me. But I would tell people that the Google Pixel 6 Pro, it's worth waiting on Android 12 to kind of work out a couple of those bugs that it's having, and it's worth the $900 that they're asking for it plus the tax. I definitely believe that. However, 5A here, Google Pixel 5A here, no slouch. Seriously, no slouch. It's been a lovely year for me and a blessing to be able to get so many different devices and be able to try them all out and have as much fun as I've been having. You guys have been great. I really appreciate it. This marks my, you know, my first full year on YouTube, pretty much. You know, I kind of started towards the middle of the year, but I've been making a couple of videos now, and you guys have been just magnificent, and I appreciate everybody's support. And anybody have any questions on any of these devices or anything that they would like to know about my usability or my experience with them, I'm pretty much full blast everything. Anybody knows me, I'm full blast everything. I'm all out with my devices. I do not hold back. When I go out and I review these devices, I'm literally only using one device at a time. I only have one line with T-Mobile, and I'm using one SIM card at a time. So when I'm going out with these devices, I'm using that one device the entire time. Been using this device for the last 3 weeks for everything the entire time. Sure, when I'm in the house, I might grab one of these other devices to do something else, you know, YouTube or Discord or anything like that, shopping. But for the most part, when I'm out, I'm using this device or whichever device has my main SIM card in it. So I'm connecting it to my car. I'm using all my Bluetooth and all of my audio equipment with it. I'm using it for my calls, my texts, and I'm relying on these devices to get me through the day and help me do what I need to do and stay connected. So all three of these devices have literally done that. The Huawei devices, you know, they're becoming more rare because of the ban. That's a whole nother discussion. Maybe we'll do a discussion video on that. But these devices have become, you know, more expensive, and it's difficult to get a hold of. And I wouldn't necessarily tell people to get these devices because it can be a little bit of a hassle trying to get some of those Google services on there. But if you're someone that doesn't care, someone from a different country, and you don't need Google services, I can attest that the Huawei devices, especially the 40 Pro here that I have, is an excellent device, and it will not let you down. Literally, this is my fastest device that I have still to this day. Even with the 6 Pro, the 5A, the Sony, you know, all the other devices I've had, this is my fastest device here, and my fastest charging device, and the device that I have with the best connectivity. The Google devices come next. They have excellent connectivity. They haven't let me down either. And some of the things that Google has done with its Android 12 has literally made it a whole lot better, But we'll go ahead and we'll get into that when I do my review of this device here. I'll probably wait another month or so before I give a review, because I like to make sure that I'm working in the battery and I'm working in to the working through the bugs of the device and making sure that I have full understanding and full knowledge of my usage of how this device is serving me before I make a full review. So I want to give it another week or so. I'll probably do it next week because I'll be on my full month. Before I switch over to another device, I'll probably end my year off with using either my Sony or my Huawei device. But yeah, man, it's been fun. I've been having a whole lot of fun. Anybody have any questions? Anybody want to know anything about the performance of these devices? Anybody need any information on how to link this device to Google natively? I can get you that information. Once again, I appreciate everybody's help through my YouTube channel and through my YouTube growth. Barry Johnson, Gadget Goddess, holla at your boy, LaShawn, Jay Williams, the whole Team 100. It's just been fun getting to know everybody and communicating with everybody. Ike, Sep, and I appreciate you guys, El Jefe. And we're going to keep rocking, man. I hope everybody's having a good year. And hopefully we'll have a good next year. Thanks, guys.